I miss that sexy smile. Looking for to see you. I hope I will lose control. Love you every night, but checking the time. 'Cause I was loving you all night long. I can let you go.
That's the dance. If you're not doing the dance, you're doing something wrong. Hello, everyone. Welcome. I am going to have some story to share with you next week about something that we've been through in my family. Oh, man. Heads are going to roll is all I'm going to say. So you're going to want to wait for that. But I am here. I am ready to party. We've got a very special guest here today. You know him. You love him. You may know his Money Muscles game frame. But you also may know that he went viral this past month. He is a big troublemaker. MLD is in the house. MLD, welcome.
Hey, Jed, how you doing?
I'm doing good. Let me say, you are a bigger troublemaker than I realized when I booked you the first time. Because I booked you. Oh, yeah. I booked you the first time and I was like, all right, cool. Came in, and then I saw some viral content unfold. And let me just say, you're a feisty one. Let's start there. For the audience who doesn't know, MLD did, you guys know I cover the Whatever podcast all the time, right? MLD went on there. We covered some of that. He gets into these heated interactions with who we now refer to as bangs, apparently because she has the bangs, but also, I don't know, might be some other reasons why we call her bangs. And MLD had some heated moments. So what I wanted to do today, first of all, we're going to talk to him about the podcast that he did. And secondly, we're going to go through these wild, crazy moments and get his reaction. He's going to have to watch himself, which sometimes is uncomfortable. But MLD, first I want to ask you. So you go to do this show. I need to know what happens because they've invited me to go out and do the show. And I'm just curious, number one, do these women believe what they're saying in your view?
Yes. Unfortunately, like these are real live crazy people from California.
So
like, they exist.
So you feel, okay, so you walk in. Did you have any interactions with them? Because obviously you did two shows actually. You did the first show, which I thought was wild. And then the second one I watched was much more tame. Much more tame. I was actually like, I wish they would have cast it like a little bit with a little more feisty. There's a girl on there that's, is her name Hensley maybe? She's crazy. I was hoping they were going to book that girl the next day with you. But, you walk in, do you interact with these girls ahead of time? What goes on before the mics roll?
I mean, come on. You really think that chick was just sitting there quietly like an angel waiting for the show to start? She was yapping the moment I walked in there. And, it's just how Brian sources the girls is he uses Hinge, a dating app, and he's right by UC Santa Barbara. And so these girls are like freshly getting indoctrinated. Like these people, it's like, it's almost like a social status. It's like their personal like Hollywood caste system. Like who is the most woke and says like the most politically correct things according to what these psychos in Hollywood are putting out. Like that's like how cool you are. Is like how much you adhere and defend this like woke ideology. And these people are real. And listen, I know I went savage. I know.
Oh, we're going to see it. We're going to see it, MLD. I'm going to replay the savage. Don't you worry.
I wasn't even trying to be cool. I wasn't like being calculated. I was just like the audacity of this child talking to me like this. It just blew me away. And they really are that pompous.
I watched some exchanges with you where I was like, I didn't know what was going to happen. Like it was insane. And then I would every now and then see an exchange and I was like, he definitely hooked up with that girl after the show. Every now and then there was one. I saw even behind the glasses some flirtation going on there. I saw some game coming out is all I'm going to say. And I was like, I'm going to ask him about that. Of course, you don't have to reveal who you do and don't hook up with. But let me just say, if I were an observant party, and I am, I would be willing to bet something went down with a few of those girls is all I'm going to say. So after the show, you had that Duke out, which we're going to play. We're going to start with the crazy. But did you talk to them? Like, was there any like heated anything when the cameras and the lights stopped, particularly on that first show with Bangs?
No, when it stopped, like, you could just kind of read the room. She was just dragging the life and energy out of the room with her just incessant complaining and nagging. And so like everybody was just, you could feel it in the room. Everybody was just sick of this girl. And they were just like, all right, whatever. And like the girls, none of the girls really wanted to speak up and say anything against her because like she was just so insufferable. It was just easier to go with the flow. And so then they went off into their little California land. And me and the producer kid, we went out and got in and out and hung out and talked and stuff. And he was just like, I couldn't believe that chick.
Yeah,
She was the way she was. And Brian was blown away. It was the #1 viewed show on his entire podcast.
Yeah, it was insane.
Until recently.
It was insane. And then she went back, by the way. We did like a Bangs Returns. But the second time she was much more mellow. But, you know, I mean, she's famous now. And people say no publicity is bad publicity. So they claim. So people know who she is. She is a recognizable face now. I don't know. I mean, people may not have the most positive view. But regardless, people know who this girl is. All right. So let's start with, we're going to do, Deli, let's go to 2413. When you said to Bangs, you just want to be loved. This was a good one. Let's go.
No, I do not listen to men.
Let's go into... You don't listen to men?
No, why am I going to... Even if he is my boyfriend, am I going to marry him? I'm 21. I don't think I'm going to marry him. So if I want to go out with my friends and party, I'm going to go out with my friends and party. I really don't care if he's telling me not to go, because 9 times out of 10, he's probably going to bars and and is probably partying with his friends. So I'm guessing that exception's probably just for me. Is he also gonna, is that not allowed for him either? Is he also gonna go party, or is that just for me?
He doesn't party.
Then maybe.
Oh, she's full of shit.
Okay.
This girl's
if it's the same
this
way,
girl's full of shit.
If it's the same way, and if he's not gonna go party, then maybe. It depends how much I like him.
You just want to be loved.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah, I do.
So
it's true. It's
go
true.
ahead.
Listen,
Give me a reaction to that.
Listen, I read these girls like a book, okay? You can sit there and harp on this feminist crap, but you're miserable. You're whining like a little dog, like that's like you're injured in the corner, just whimpering, someone please love me. Someone hold me, protect me, tell me it's going to be okay. That's what I saw. It was like a wounded little, like a wounded little puppy. I felt bad, but like when I just try to talk logic to them, they just shut it down. So I was like, okay. We obviously have a panelist that has just filled with bias against me, and there's no swaying them. So I'm just going to showcase to the guys the levels of insufferability these type of women will go to. And, she's a viral sensation. Honestly, I changed that girl's life. I guarantee you she's rethinking her life and kind of maybe coming to Jesus a little bit. I'm doing the Lord's work. I'm confident in that. So.
Well, it's interesting. There was a different girl. A different girl went on their show and was talking about how she charged $40K a month for feet pics and all this stuff. And she was in her zone. And then she came on the second time and she was all like, it looks like she had been transformed. She was suddenly like very submissive. And I was like, something's happening to these women because they're saying the stuff, they're challenged. Maybe some of them, you can hope, go home and think about what they're saying. And they're like, that I didn't look so good doing that. Like, this isn't going to work for me if I want to get from point A to Z. I think one of the challenges for women today, though, before we get to the second clip, which is a really funny one, is the programming. You go through life and as a woman, you're programmed so heavily to say this that you start spewing these talking points without even thinking about what you're saying. So she's sitting there with you and she's talking about, oh, I want to be able to party and all this. And then Brian throws her a curveball and says, well, what if he doesn't party? And she's like, oh, never mind then. It's a complete retraction because she hasn't actually thought about what she's saying at all. So it's fascinating. It's like you watch the wheels turn for like the first time, It's so crazy. All right, let's go ahead. MLD respond, and then we're going to go to the next clip.
Listen, if you watch that podcast, okay, for all you normal people out there, if you do watch the podcast, you can see like these girls, like the girl, I think her name was Lexi. She was sitting on the far right. She's a beautiful white girl, but she was 18 years old, and how rehearsed and fake she sounded to like carefully say her words so the woke mafia didn't come after her. Mm-hmm. It was kind of sad. It was like, I don't know. It's like, it was just to see how brainwashed these people are, because this is brainwashing. I'm not crazy. You're not crazy. Like, these people are brainwashed, and then this is like their life. This is their new God. And it's just this is real. Like, I think that's why it's so popular. Brian is showing like how crazy they are out there.
Yeah, and it's in their own words, right? So it's not someone, I'm sitting here and I can make my assessments, but sometimes you hear these women. That's why I changed the show, actually, to have so much reaction to what they're saying, because I want to show people this is what's happening. And some older people, I'm older, there are people in older generations that can't understand just how bad it is. So I'm saying, like, listen to this is real. This is how women are talking in 2023. So I think it's really interesting. All right. This is a good one. Let's go to number 3, Deli. Who made you like this? I love it. Okay.
Who's the guy that made you like this?
Wait, did you just do the who hurt you?
Made me like this.
Is this the who
Why
hurt
do
you?
you think a man has made me like this?
Dude,
Who do you think?
Somebody definitely hurt you.
No guy has really hurt me
So you're
enough.
just born with all this angst and hatred in your heart?
Close the,
Why? Because I have values that aren't traditional.
I didn't say anything. Listen,
It
just
seems
because I'm
like
wearing
it.
listen,
It
just because
kinda
I'm wearing a
pushes-
suit
you're
doesn't
pushing
mean
that.
just
You're
relax,
pushing that.
relax. Okay, just because I'm wearing a suit doesn't mean I'm traditional. It means I'm professional. Okay? So
Okay.
all I'm trying to say is he asked you like a very simple question, but you came back with like a fiery, emotionally charged answer that was kind of like a little bit anti-male.
Okay,
And
let's
so-
pause. So what do you think? Is she a man hater? Like what was going on there in your mind?
I told so Brian had a follow-up interview with me. We had a one-on-one the next day, and I said like, I don't know, maybe her like uncle punched her in the face or something. It's like, this isn't normal. Like, people aren't born with this much like hatred and anger in their heart. And like, she was so passionate in what she said, but I wish she was as right as she was passionate, because that's like the story of California. Like, these guys are just so passionate about these beliefs. And when you ask them like to test the beliefs, through and through, they sell out. Like she was like saying earlier, like, I wouldn't do X, Y, and Z. And like, well, what if your boyfriend wanted you to do it? Well, I guess I'd do it. It's just it's I don't know. It's just when I go to California, I struggle to deal with the people there and just like the fakeness. There's a lot of fakeness, especially like near Los Angeles and all that stuff. The people are super fake, and the people in California know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I mean, my vibe from her is that she's just distrustful. So, and I don't know if she's distrustful because somebody wronged her, like she dated a guy who cheated on her, or her best friend dated a guy who cheated on her, something like that. Or if she's just distrustful because society has told her that men are bad by nature and she should be distrustful of them, even if she hasn't had a bad experience. Hard to tell. It's one of the two that I would glean from that. Interesting observation on California. I'm a New Yorker, and it was funny. Whenever I tried to move to California, that was the one piece. New Yorkers, at least, used to be very raw and very kind of like real, in like authentic in what we are, and we're crazy in our own way, don't get me wrong, but California, everything has this like facade of just like hi, or like hey, what's up, and it's like a dead kind of like, is there somebody in there? Are you a Stefford wife? What's going on? That kind of vibe.
Very empty.
Like a vacant. Yes, even in the eyes, lots of dead eyes going around. I don't know. Okay, let's do this. This one got heated. I'm going to warn you, MLD. This is one of the ones where you got heated. Let's go to number 4, 4730.
Oh, I feel like I let you down. I saw your breakdown on this.
Go ahead.
You think men wanting their girlfriends, partners, wives to not be partying, going out to bars and clubs, you think that that's oppression? Because you use the word oppressed.
I said women have been oppressed since the beginning of time.
How?
And it's natural.
Oh, gosh. Okay.
How?
Are you really? How?
Yeah, go ahead.
How? You're
the one
asking
saying
me
this is
how?
true. Yes.
Here's maybe a better question.
Defend
How?
yourself.
No, because I'm not going. If
Okay,
you don't know how.
Because you don't know.
No, if I'm not going to explain to myself.
In normal conversation where people aren't sitting around and patronizing you because you're loud and obnoxious, and a lot of people don't want to confront you and tell you that. But I'll tell you that right now, young lady. You're very loud and obnoxious, and you're rude, and you're full of a lot. No, I'm talking right now. You had your chance. I'm going to talk. When I'm done, you talk. That's equality, right?
Keep going.
Right. Thank you very much. All right. Now, what I'm saying is in conversation, when you bring something up, you can't just state something as fact and then not defend it.
Okay,
and
let's
then
pause
say,
it.
oh, well.
First of all, Brian's face. Brian looked like he was going to die. I actually thought Brian was going to get up and leave the show and just be like, I'm out. You guys just do what you're going to do. So when you see, what are your thoughts when you watch that exchange between the two of you?
I knew she was full of shit. I was like, okay, this is in your like little oppression handbook. So let's see. You're oppressed. Let's go fact for fact, because I could talk to you about male oppression as well. You know, they're painting the picture like men have just like were born at the dawn of civilization. Like, oh, what's our first instinct? Provide, protect, find a woman, make love to her, protect the family. No, I want to oppress women. I want to get my buddies together. We're just going to go around and oppress women and find ways to keep women down. It's just so idiotic. And so at that point, too, like I had just been just hearing her recite the oppression handbook. Well, women are this and this and this, and, you know, trans people and the Black Lives Matter, like whatever little victim-based movement you want to go and, you know, recite down. I just knew that there was no real meat behind her argument. I knew she didn't know what she was talking about. And then I was just like, okay, prove yourself. And that's why if you watch the clip, it goes for it. I was just like, guys, she doesn't know what the hell she's talking about. Just put a big L in the chat for this chick right now. Just put a big L and let me see that in the chat. Because I just knew, I was just like, this kid doesn't know what she's talking about. So I'm here to help men, and I'm going to clown her and show the men like this chick makes no logical sense. So you shouldn't take people like this in real life seriously.
Did you regret? Did you regret at all calling her? Because I saw Brian was like, "Oh, let's not call names." He was trying to step in and be like a mediator, right. I guess he was. Did you regret at all calling her rude and obnoxious? I'm curious. And maybe the answer may be no, but I'm just curious.
No. Rude and obnoxious, no. When I slipped up and called her to the B word, that was just like the street in me, because she was like, she started pointing at me. She's like, well, you're just intimidated by women and you're this and that. And I was just like, you don't even know me. Mm-hmm. Like, you just met me 10 minutes ago. What are you trying to say? That just came up,
Yeah, the B word was the part that and here's the thing. You're on the point of the oppression, like you're right. She made, again, because she's just vomiting out the talking points. She says, "Oh, women are oppressed because she read it somewhere, or a magazine article told her, or a movie told her." She can't support it. So that's very frustrating, because you hear these women and you're like, "How so?" And they're like, "What? You don't know?" They have to get defensive. So you're right on the point. What my message to you was when I covered it was, I was like, one thing guys have to be careful of is it really depends on what your goal is. If your goal is to clown her, and that the people you're speaking to, the people you really want to reach, are going to get who you are, get where you're coming from, then cool. If your goal is to speak to any groups that might be inclined to disagree with you, or try to convert people, or try to like get to people who maybe there's some women out there that are kind of on the fence about how they feel about this, anytime a man goes personal, they're going to immediately, women are inclined to then get defensive and turn on you, even if the value of what you're saying is true. We are emotionally driven. So we're going to react and be like, he said that, well, he's not, that's the reaction. So my advice was just like, hey, just know that about us, which I'm sure you know already. And it may or may not work in your favor to have the approach you do.
Listen, if you pay attention to me, when I put her in her place, notice how she gets right in line. When I'm just like, hey, stop talking. Listen. I'm doing the work her father should have done when she was being raised.
Right. It's true.
And, I was telling her, like, how have you gotten 21 years through your life like this and no one's punched you in the face for acting like this? Like, man or woman, like, you're going down a wrong path. But I honestly, it's funny, too. So that happened. We filmed that on January 29th, right?
That's my birthday. So, there you go.
Happy birthday. Happy birthday. Happy 26, 27 years old now?
I'm 29. Great. It's fine. I'm 29.
Fantastic. Sorry about that. But anyways, so fast forward, I'm back in Tokyo, right? So it's now February 15th, February 16th, right? I'm out. I'm getting a massage. I'm in the Conrad in Tokyo. I'm with a beautiful woman. And then my Instagram starts going off. And I'm like, what the hell is who's hitting me up? Like, I've been going viral, so my DMs have been lit. So I check my Instagram, and lo and behold, she is now tagging me on a story of some like small comment I replied to on a reel on my YouTube channel. So she is like stalking my channel, stalking the comment section. And then she is just telling me, you're an old man. You're almost 40. She's like, you're probably with your wife and she's probably a pig. Oink, oink, oink. The only woman you can get are like women you pay to be with. And I'm just like, you are crazy. You psychopath. Like, why are you contacting me? Like, are you, I don't know. I mean, she probably missed me. I don't know.
I was just going to say, maybe it was like that. You were the only person who told her what was up. And now she was missing that, craving the, how sometimes, they always say like the guy who kind of, I hate that put in your place, but you know what I mean? The guy who's like, doesn't take the garbage and is like, no, you're not doing that. That's the one they chase. So, you never know. Maybe she was looking for a little love.
No, I mean, she definitely is looking for love. Are you kidding me? Listen, I could make a good woman out of her. Let me tell you something. I could make a good woman out of her.
Well, listen, if you decide to take that project on, I would love to, we can send Deli to video the entire thing and we can showcase it on the show. Deli's, by the way, sporting the MLD gear today in your honor, as you may have noticed. So,
He's looking fantastic.
Listen,
I'm living true to myself. This was right
there we go. You're impactful. There you go. So one word that was interesting, you had an exchange where the word leader came up, and this is something I talk about a lot. Let's listen to it, and then I'll I'll ask you a couple of questions. Let's play number 5.
You said that men should pay. Why?
I don't know. It's just my opinion. If the man is asking me out, then yeah, I think he should pay. If I'm asking him out, I don't know. He
should still pay?
No, I don't think. I've never asked a guy out.
Well, okay. So
I've never been in the situation where I've even had to pretend to get my wallet out. It's always been the man pursuing me, I guess. And I just prefer it that way.
You prefer, okay.
Yeah, I'd prefer a man who takes action and is kind of, I don't know, I wouldn't want to say like, I don't even know a good word to put it, but I'd want him to be like just taking action, being a man, I guess.
Being the leader?
Yeah.
Okay.
No, not really the leader, but just being a man and stepping up and and
being
paying.
the man, stepping up.
Doing his manly duties.
Stepping up and not being the leader.
Doing his manly duties.
Okay,
Doing his manly duties.
That's an interesting exchange because that word comes up a lot. It's a trigger word for feminists. It also goes with leader is also like head of household. For some reason, when you say head of household, it's an immediate trigger. The horns go up. It's like fires coming out of their mouth like a dragon. They lose their minds. Why do you think it is that even though she's articulating to you that she does want a man to be a leader, that word, she can't swallow it? Why?
Oh, because it's in their little feminist hate handbook. Like, don't ever acknowledge men positively. Like, when in doubt, you're probably being oppressed. Like, it's just... When in doubt, take advantage of a man that can benefit you in any way possible. She was saying like, I think a man should pay for the first date and do all these things. And, all women are 10s, all these just female centric talking points that were just not based in reality, So I just don't, I think they feel like they're so afraid of men and they so really don't understand men. That's the root of it all. That the only way for them to protect themselves mentally from this fear of men is for them to have total control. Mm-hmm. And for them not to be the leader, then guess what that means? It means they're not in control in their little crazy ideology handbook. So anything that puts a man above them or like a lot of these girls, Jed, they really view men as a second-class citizen who has to like prove to her that he's not an idiot just because she perceives herself to have some like, social superiority to the man because he is a man and she is a woman. She has like this divine woke blessing upon her, the goddess of being a female. It's insane. It's crazy. And like, I'm not making this up. I'm not like a jaded, bitter old man in my mother's basement. Like, I'm a successful guy. I'm good looking, and women like me, and I'm out here, and I've been doing this I've been doing the field work and getting data from guys and stuff, and witnessing this entitlement. Like, I've been dealing with these chicks all the way back on, good Lord, 2020, when I was on the Fresh and Fit dealing with these crazy girls. 2020, 2021, 2022. 2023, just a new batch of crazies. It's nothing new. It's just like, the average guy is kind of grown so callous to it. They just call everything like this clown world. Like, this is clown world,
Yeah.
I mean, you talk about it on your show where there's all this clown world stuff going on, and these kind of crazy woke people are no different.
Yeah, it's interesting. You said that you mentioned second-class citizens. I think oftentimes these modern women do view men that way as second-class citizens. And I think part of that is because media often presents men as so dumb and incapable. Like, oh, here's another fat guy. Here's another guy who doesn't have a job. Here's another guy who's a dad but can't manage to pick the kids up at school on time. Here's another, it's always guys just failing. So you absorb that content from media so regularly as a young woman, and then you internalize it, and you're like, well, that's what men are doing. Oh, I can't lean on a man. I can't rely on a man. They're a hot mess. I need to be the sturdy one. I need to be the one in charge and command. What's interesting to me about it is that in the same breath, a lot of these women also view men as violent by nature, dangerous by nature. There was an exchange that you had with respect to this. Let's go to number 6, 11741, and then we'll get your reaction. And then we'll get to the chat, guys. So if you're in the chat and you have a comment, get on in there.
The leader thing really does trigger chicks. Like, even when we had like a discussion on Valuetainment Money, my first time ever there, like Natalia and I had a little back and forth that went a little viral on my channel because she was a little upset with how I defined the leader, which is man leads, woman follows. Because I think Adam was trying to tiptoe in between. He's like, so you're not saying like man leads, women follows. I'm like, no, actually I am saying that. And then Monica, Swedish Bella, was on the panel with me. She's, happily married. And she's like, yeah, that's exactly how I do it in my house. But like, again, the young girls, if they feel they need to relinquish even 1% of control to a man, they're just like, oh my God, like my life is in danger. The patriarchy is going to kill me because I learned this in this indoctrination camp over here they call university. So
yeah, it's also like, it's hard to visualize that if you don't have somebody, like if you're not with somebody that you fully trust, if you've had an experience with a guy where you've not trusted them, you kind of lose touch with that sentiment when you're very young. I think it's hard. Like, what does follow mean? They can't visualize that. Once when you're older, like me, somebody who, has a husband, has a child, lives in a home, understands what financial responsibilities look like, understand how men and women are different because it manifests naturally when you have a healthy home. Like it's much simpler because a lot of those things naturally fall into place unless you're resisting them. But when you're young, before you have those things, I think it's really hard for young women to understand. It almost seems like, are you trying to oppress me? What are you trying to say? Yeah. Is there going to be something going on that's, force? Like they imagine like a woman handcuffed to a stove or, like it's just all the visuals come into play.
I literally said that, like being handcuffed to a stove. They envision like, you're being handcuffed to a stove. The man is like, it's stroganoff or uppercuts. What do you do?
Right. And to be fair, as younger, I don't know how I would have processed that. I may have had that same reaction, to be honest, before I had been in the world for a second. But I don't know. I can't, speak to that person that I used to be. But let me talk about the one about violence. Let's see, number 6. Let's play that, Deli, because this is interesting.
Point of what I'm trying to say. I'm just saying that whenever women decide to do talk about feminism, a really big argument men decide are like, oh, okay, like equal rights, equal fights, but like, why would you bring that up? Men just want like a reason to use violence or have violence against women.
If a woman,
that's what we do. We sit around, we're like, hey, how can we oppress the women today, bud? Let's use some violence too.
And that's sad for me to hear her say that, because somebody, I don't know who it was, I don't know where her dad is, I don't know where the positive male people in her life are, but to walk through life and have this idea that men are out there scheming about how to be violent toward you, I don't see how you could possibly enter a healthy relationship if you're always thinking that somebody's out to get you in any way. So to me, that was like so reflective of these women are being fed all these talking points, and it's really inhibiting them from having a healthy dynamic because they meet that guy who's not out to cause violence in any way, who's just trying to be a head of household or just trying to lead or trying to provide. And they're triggered constantly like, oh, he's bad. If he's trying to exercise any degree of authority, that's a bad sign. And that's like, how do you have a healthy exchange like that? You can't.
Yeah, there's a documentary that I just reviewed on my channel. We did a watch party. It's called Childhood 2.0. You should check it out because you have a wonderful little son. But it talks about how the people that are so addicted to social media, these young kids, it covers kids from I believe ages 7, 8 to 18, right? And they show that how now more than ever, the world has never been safer, let alone America. Violent crimes are going down. Crimes against women are going down. All this stuff is going down. But women still believe in this this patriarchal boogeyman that's coming to pay them 77% and oppress them and force them to get pregnant and then force them to not get an abortion. This phantom patriarchal monster, this boogeyman is coming, and it's amazing to see the propaganda. But again, the majority of these chicks are the majority of people are addicted to social media, and you know who runs these social media companies, and they're not exactly putting out the most edifying content for people, let alone in America. And you're seeing this happen on ground zero here in America, where all this filth is coming from, and then you wonder why these people are going crazy.
Yep. That's 100% true. I'm going to get to the chat and just read some of these chats for you guys for a second. El Chino said nasty. I haven't said the word nasty yet, Deli. Nasty. Okay, I did it. There you go. Now, just because I said nasty, you all have to hit that subscribe button and hit that like button. Otherwise, I'm going to have to, pull it back a little bit. Can't be sharing all the fun. All right. Then we have shout out to Jed and MLD, the recent mindset guest and topic is gold. Appreciate you both. Demetrius Parham, give $20. Proud American 1776. Brainwashing starts at a young age these days. Is very true. Matt J gave $20. John is one of the world's most effective male trauma release coaches. He literally gets people 100K jobs. Ever know a coach that does that? Each job changes a family's life forever. Thank you, Masculine Jesus. Masculine Jesus. That is quite a nickname. I don't know, man. MLD. That's something. Ryan, the Eating Warrior, a fan of the show, says fake people from the land of fake Cali. Shocking. Both you guys are doing awesome work. Thanks, Jed, for pushing me to MLD's channel. Extra guac, by the way, I support that. Extra guac on everything. MLD's message needs to be heard by more men. HDA.
Hot Dude Army.
I was like, what is that, HDA? I'm not cool enough. I don't know. I don't know all the lingo. Although I'm getting very good because let me tell you, MLD, the other day I had a guest on and he's in my age bracket. And I was talking, I was like 304 this, and he's like, what's that? And I was like, oh, I got to catch you up. I never felt so young and hip in all my life. Okay, so let's talk about women who insist they're a 10, and then we're gonna I don't know. I can't rate her from here, but she's not a 10. Let's just go to that clip, 138.05, and then we're going to talk about this phenomenon that happens.
Because I'm not on a magazine cover.
Well, you could be a 10 and not be a model. However, if you're a 10, you are as attractive as women who are the most beautiful women in the world.
Yeah,
who
and
are
I
models.
am a 10. I believe I'm a 10. Look at me, I'm a catch.
Don't you think it's a bit of hubris?
Why do you want me to rate myself lower?
Well, I mean, you're free to. I suppose you're free to.
I'm not going to, though. I'm not going to rate myself lower.
I'm not planning on forcing you to rate yourself.
I know, but it kind of, like, by the way that you're talking to me, it kind of seems like you're telling me I'm not a 10, which is fine. That's your own opinion. But you asked me to rate myself, and I'm being honest. I think I'm a 10. If
I said I was a 10, that would put me on par with Brad Pitt when he was young, with Leonardo when he was young. I don't know if Leo was a 10 in his prime. Was Leo a 10 in his prime?
I don't know.
He was a babe. It's
okay.
just like...
All right. So we can all, I think, acknowledge that she is not a 10. Now, this is just subjective. This is nothing against her. This is, everybody's got their own type. Everybody's got their own type. I understand you like what you like, but a 10 is a 10, right? And I argue actually that almost no one's a 10 because the 10 is like perfect. I mean, maybe there's some models out there but 10 is 10, right? So, but it's concerning to me, this delusion that some women have, because now they're being taught that delusion is the same thing as confidence and that they have to go out. I mean, you see some of these women, they're obese, they're, a little homely, let's be honest. And they're like, I'm a 10. And they're waiting for that 10 guy to come over and give them attention. And that 10 guy is not looking at them because they're looking at an actual 10. And as a result, these women who are maybe a 5 don't give another 5 who's a guy a chance because they're like, oh no, I deserve this. I'm a 10, I'm a 10, I'm a 10. So it's destructive, this kind of warped self-view. What do you think?
I mean, a 10 on the Richter scale, right? No, definitely not a 10 at all. I will say this too, because here's how the delusion forms, Jed. So these girls will get sexually used by like chads, good looking guys, 6 foot. Because, she says, I only date guys, over 6 foot. Right. So these girls just get used sexually. They get pumped and dumped, right, by these guys. And they think just because they're getting sexual access to these guys that they are worthy of being able to keep a relationship with that guy. But the thing is, when a guy has the opportunity to have sex, even if it's like a 6, a 7, a 5, whatever, 8, not his ideal woman that he wants to get in a relationship with, he will still sleep with her and he will just use her and they'll have like this, multiple month little fling. But 9 times out of 10, these chicks, they don't have the ability to maintain the man that they want because they've been taught to hate men their whole life, and then they get caught in this like perpetual cycle of disappointment, but still thinking they're worthy of this top tier man that is just using them and throwing them back out into the wild. Does that make sense to you?
Oh, it does. No, it 100% does. I just don't. I can't relate to that lack of self-awareness. It's very hard for me to relate to this. Like I'm a 10 and proudly say when it's very obviously not the case. It's even if you're getting attention, there has to be some level of self-awareness that happens in your own body when you look in a mirror. I don't know. I can't relate to that. I do see what you're saying, but I just can't imagine being deluded in that way.
Courtney Ryan said something about it. She's a really smart dating coach, and she said like there is a thing known as toxic positivity, and when you're just overly positive and overly delusional, but she sounds like Syndrome, the villain from The Incredibles. When everybody's special, nobody's special. So all 10s. We're all 10s. So we're all just then nobody's a 10. It's you got to thank God for the ugly people, because ugly people are what make attractive people so valuable.
It's an interesting way to put it. All right, body count. You had a little bit of a fiery debate on body count. They actually asked you at one point to share your body count. She shared her body count. She said 11. I was surprised, actually. I thought it might be a bit hard given the way she was speaking, but you never do know. I don't know who's telling the truth and whatnot in this. But let's just listen to a piece of the body count debate at Deli. Let's do number 8.
Share it.
No.
One for one?
1 for 1?
No.
How about you? Since you two have been flirting with each other all night, I'm thinking if he says it, you say it. How about that? Gentleman's agreement.
Fine.
Oh, okay. There we go. John, go ahead.
Ladies first.
11.
Really? Only 11? Really?
Do you think I ran through?
No, I'm just. It sounds low. Mine's like 250.
250.
So body count matters to you when it comes to a woman?
Yes.
So, but it's okay for you to have a high body count.
Yeah, kind of like it doesn't. You don't
then
care.
Your opinion is bullshit.
No.
Okay,
It's the
let's
same
pause
thing.
it here for a second. So you were surprised that she said 11, but I have to be honest. I know I'm a bit of a relic, but she's 21. Like 11 still sounds high to me at 21. Like what are these girls doing in college?
She doesn't even go to college anymore. She lives out in the sticks in some hillbilly area she talked about. But yeah, it's like modern women, they don't just seem to get the simple fact that, like, guys, we typically like girls who are the opposite of us. Like, you know, we want the soft to our hard. You know, if we go sleep around a bunch, whatever, but we definitely don't want a girl who sleeps around. And it's okay. Like, when we make that comparison, so we are allowed to do something, but they're not, right? They get mad. But it's never them getting mad when they're like, well, I want to be, I want a rich man. Like, okay, well, how much money are you bringing to the table?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, you are expecting this of me with body count. So then how much money are you bringing to the table? Are you making $200,000 a year, 300, 400, 500 for their dream guy?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So again, it's like I said, I'm not trying to sound like one of these internet nerds. He's like, you know, these dudes that get on the internet and cry and stuff. That's just not me. But all I am saying is, like, when you look at what they're talking about, and then this clip actually is going viral of me and you right now on my Instagram. When I say, like, they want totalitarianism, I'm not crazy. Like, I said that before when we were on with, you know, the last time we were on together in January. And I said they want totalitarianism. They want to go out, party whenever they want to party. They want you to pay for it. They want you staying at home, being a good little boy, waiting for them while they're partying. You can't say anything about girls' night out. You can't say anything about girls' trip to Mexico. So they just want totalitarianism over men. And guys are just like, no, I have a backbone. I'm not going to tolerate this. You know, even the guys going the MGTOW and the black pill, the guys who are just walking away from women entirely. Like, these chicks got to get their acts together, because, I mean, you know, no man is rushing out to save an insufferable woman with a bad attitude. You know what I mean? And the streets are cold. Like, these girls are, like, the future is real when they're saying, like, projections of being single and people being alone, dying alone and stuff. Like, that's not something I want, man or woman. I don't think anybody wants that, but that's the path they're heading down.
Yeah, we showed a video the other day that was very sad of a woman who was crying. You may have seen it. It went viral on TikTok. Where was it? I think it was a TikTok video, but it went viral on Twitter, actually. I don't have a TikTok. So, and it was her really crying, and at 36, and she had been divorced, and, you know, her fertility was not good. And it was sad, but I showed it because I was like, you know, you guys need to wake up. Like, you have a growing population of really depressed, anxious, unhappy women. And there are reasons why, you know, because of the decisions they're making and what they're being spoon-fed. It's interesting, though. What you just said bleeds nicely into a clip about preferences. And then I'll give you my thoughts on something else you said before. But let's play number 9, Deli.
6 foot, you're 5'2".
Okay.
Well, you can, and the thing
That's still my preference.
But body. Well, it's men's preference.
It's men's preference for the low body count.
It's a stupid preference that.
See, it's only stupid because you don't understand it, and it doesn't serve you. That's why you're very self-centered in the way you view things.
How does it serve
Okay,
you
so
having a nice, clean?
What's interesting is that this set of, like, I have preferences, the women are very able to understand that they have preferences, and they'll say you have to make 6 figures, you have to this, you have to that, you have to be 6 feet, or you have to be, you know, whatever it may be. But they can't wrap their heads around, for some reason, that body count issue does matter to guys. And I would agree with you that it does matter to guys. And I think it's just because it forces them to kind of look at the fact that they've already made a lot of mistakes. Because by 21, 22, if you've got a body count of 11, you're already kind of in a bad place. I mean, I hate to say it, you know, I'm not saying women can't change. I think anyone can change and kind of realize, what was I doing? That can happen. But still, even if you do change for the better and a guy finds out, oh, your body count is 15, you know, by the age of 20, they're still going to look at you and be like, I don't know about her. Like, why was she so easily able to, like, hop in and out of bed with so many people? Like, what it makes guys uncomfortable. And where you and I may differ a little bit is just I oftentimes will tell the audience, like, I personally don't think high body count is necessarily good for anybody, because it just, to me, is like wasted time. You know, I'd rather see guys who, you know, get your time in the gym, like, get your business together, get yourself together, you know, turn yourself into the best possible version of yourself, get healthy, eat your good food, be financially stable. And I've seen a lot of guys fall down into a sinkhole chasing girls that they don't want a future with. They're enveloped in some type of hookup culture. They're hopping in and out of bed. Some people feel there's an energy exchange there. I don't know how I feel like I'm still on the fence with whether I feel that happens with everyone, but I do think, I think it can be a sinkhole for men in its own way too. And I don't know if you would agree with that. Maybe it hasn't been for you,
No,
but
listen, I talk about that on my show frequently. And I tell the guys, listen, the player life doesn't have a happy ending. Like, it's only like these Dan Bilzerians and these big, like Instagram celebrities, like you see living this like super player lifestyle. But it grows on you, it wears on you. And I always tell the guys, like, I tell them, get in, learn the fundamentals of dating so you can have the confidence to talk to the girls that you want to talk to go after the girls that you want to, and also to have the confidence to know that if things go bad with the woman and, maybe she doesn't cooperate with me anymore at some point in a relationship, she goes feral, I know I have enough of an abundance mentality that I can find another girl and replace her. Okay, because the biggest problem right now in America is male thirst. That is the real pandemic. Male thirst in America. These dudes are so thirsty, and they make life for these new American chicks so easy and delude them. These women's delusions are coming from men validating them wherever they go, but they really can't see the validation is just simping in disguise because these guys have nefarious purposes. They want to get in bed with them. Right? And girls know this. Girls can tell when a guy is into them, and she can use him and manipulate him to get him to do things because she knows the guy likes her and she has no intention. Women do this all the time. And hey, that's female nature. That's your superpower. I would do it too, right? You know what I'm talking about, Jed. I'm not crazy over here.
I do. No, you're not crazy. You're not crazy.
I'm not crazy. And it's just gone over the top. Like, dude, these guys are simping at all time highs. And so that's why I tell these guys, you got to get out. As much as I was a wild child, you probably know. Like, I was just out there, just sleeping around, having fun, whatever. But I buckled down when I turned like 33, and I was just like, just want to get on the internet and start my entrepreneurial pursuits, build the masculine empowerment network, move forward with the Water Life dating brand. And that's what I've been doing. And I've and I've been helping guys out. And like, my philosophy, again, it's not just get girls. Like, it's behind me. It's money, muscles, game, frame. It's a life of excellence. It's a man with a backbone. It's a man who understands his value, and he's not afraid to tell someone no just because he feels guilty for standing up for himself. I'm putting a backbone in these, and I'm getting them employed. Like you saw, I'm getting these guys jobs, $100,000 plus.
Yeah.
I'm really good at what I do. So I tell them, though, but here's the thing, and this is something no women really understand. You guys have no idea how much we are plagued with the idea of having sex. Like, it just consumes us as men. It's what we are. And this frustrates guys when they don't have the proper tools to go out and talk to a girl. Because what game is just extremely high levels of social acuity. It's understanding how to dress well, how to present well, how to talk to people, and then, find out if a girl's interested in you. And if she is, take it to the next level consensually. You're both adults, and that's how you do it. But a lot of these guys just think internally, well, I'm not good enough, so I need to simp. I need to offer money. I need to offer services. I need to go some backhanded, like indirect way, kind of sneaky game, if you will,
right?
To get, because they just don't feel good enough. But I teach them how to get your stuff together, have a backbone, feel good about yourself. And then eventually I do tell them, you got to get out of the dating game. Like, staying in it too long is just a bad look. It's just not good.
Yeah, I mean, and it's funny because you mentioned, there are certain things that women aren't going to understand. Like, even if you're a woman who really enjoys sex, has a very healthy sex life, I still don't think that we can understand how often sex goes through the mind of a man. I mean, and I know because I am married now and I have these conversations with my husband, and it's stunning to me. I'm like, guys can have sex constantly. I mean, we are not wired that way. It's not like a constant, it's done. 15 minutes later, it's there is some satiation in our game where it's like, all right, I'm good for today. You guys, man, it's a different body. It's different hormones. It's different. I want to ask you about the idea, though, because you talked about thirsty guys and all of that. The idea of giving away sex for free when it comes to women and what that does to hookup culture. This is a good clip. Let's go to number 10, Deli.
Bunch of fuckboys because there's a bunch of girls out there giving away pussy for free.
No.
That's the only reason they're there.
Well, you disagree?
I disagree because I feel like people coming in college, like especially guys, their goal is to like fuck as many girls as they can, you know, like brag about it and
okay.
You know, can I get
So
out of
again,
that?
and I'm not going to even let her play out this diluted monologue that she's about to do, but why can't they just yes, that's why. If women weren't willing to play the game, guys wouldn't be able, there would be no game, right? If women just said, if every woman was like, listen, I care about my body count, I have self-respect, my dad raised me right, I'm not going to be promiscuous, I'm not doing any of that, and we're just like drawing the line and we're saying, I'm going to be monogamous, and guys, that's the pool that guys would have to choose from. There, maybe there'd be a one girl over here and one over there, like it used to be 20 years ago, where it was like the girl that got shamed at school because she was nasty. But guys wouldn't be able to go to the club and just be like doing this, and you got to be able to do it with somebody. So women need to own this. If you don't like that guys are behaving that way, stop giving them more like gasoline. You're like throwing gasoline on it. I just don't understand these women.
Jed, listen, I'm gonna tell you something real nasty, okay? Like, look, these girls, listen, you'd be surprised, Jed. You'd be surprised how quickly these girls, once they go on a date, they sit across from a guy that they're interested in. I mean, I've gone on dates with, many men that I know. We've gone out, we had a coffee with a girl, and we just can see they're totally in and they're ready to jump on it right away.
Nasty.
If you don't have protection to,
nasty.
It's no problem. I'm telling you, it's wild out there, Jed. It's wild.
I can't relate to, there is no part of me, and I got married late, right? So you have to understand, I'm seeing these body count numbers, but I got married late. So it's not like I was 21 and I'm still like, you're nasty, you're 21. I can't believe what some of these women are willing to do. And I keep talking to them through my audience and just being like, do you understand, like, I've had a baby. Like, now everything I see is like a womb now. And I'm like, you're sharing your innermost intimate parts with just some random person who you don't know where that guy's been the day before. And you don't care. You're not worried. You're not thinking about, there's always a risk of pregnancy for a woman. That should always be in mind. I don't care what birth control you're taking, which you're usually taking wrong, or what you're doing, but there's always a risk of something involved, including the risk of your own emotional attachment, by the way. One would hope, if they're not broken beyond repair, these women. But I can't, what you're saying to me is just like, wow, nasty. I can't relate to it. I believe you, but I can't relate to it.
When I first did it too, I was just like, oh no, that was an accident.
Was an accident?
It was like, and I just kept finding out. I was just like, yo, these girls are nasty. Wild out here. They are getting it in, and it's ZFG. It is zero fucks given. Like, I don't know.
I wasn't sure what that one was either. I'm glad you clarified. Now I know. I'm going to use that, Deli. I'm going to sound cool and say ZFG. Okay, there was one clip of you. I have two more things I want to get to with you before we wrap today. I'm going to read these chats too. Don't you worry. I see y'all in there. There was one clip of you that went viral. I hadn't seen this. I had not seen this until yesterday, and it looks like you staged it. So you got to be honest with us when we watch it. But let's play number 12, Deli.
Staged.
Who controls access to sex, men or women?
Women. Yeah, woman. Woman, obviously.
Yeah, so I would say hookup culture, if we want to see hookup culture stop, because women kind of control when sex happens. So do you have anyone to blame but yourselves on that one? Thoughts? Okay, crickets, here we go. Okay, so, and also, who controls access to sex?
did you stage that?
Men and
That's
women.
too beautifully executed for you not to have staged it in some way.
Listen, I swear to God. No, listen, I was bored out of my mind at that point because it was just dealing with these incessant droning of these mindless zombies that I was just like looking at the camera and I was like looking at the chat. I was like, you see the red pill? You see the red pill? Take the red pill. And I was low key kind of trolling Brian too, right?
Yeah.
Because Brian's good. I like him. He's a good guy. And
Brian's a little
you know,
soft. I like Brian too, but I tell him he's a little soft sometimes. I'd like to see Brian really get a little heat in his step. I like him though.
Every girl says the same thing. He's working on it. He's French, you know. He's got to puff himself up a bit.
Yeah, he seems like he'd be truthfully like Brian looks like the type of guy that would make a really good husband. I'm gonna be honest. He seems like a fundamentally decent guy.
That's like an insult.
Is it? Why? No, I mean, I think he's got, he's got his traditional mindset in terms of like what he respects about women. He does challenge them, but to me, that's a compliment. Listen, I mean it as a compliment, but sometimes I'd like him to, be a little more of a flamethrower on there. But I guess that's what we're for. We're the troublemakers, and he's trying not to be one. So, but that moment it was fantastic, and it was clipped. So that one went viral for obvious reasons. People couldn't get that.
That's what I was talking about. It's like how that one clip really kind of like showed me how viral I went. Because like I was telling you behind scenes, like when you count up all these TikToks and all of these other channels that broadcasted me, my channel alone got over 50 million views since I went on that viral tear. Just my channel alone. And then after that, seeing all the numbers on these other accounts, like they are in the millions. Because the thing is this, let me tell you something too, Jed, okay? A lot of these guys, look, they are nerdy. They are kind of lacking the social experience to kind of go toe to toe with a woman that's coming at them, right?
Yeah.
And so they kind of just sit there and tolerate it, and they just feel bad because they don't know how to do it. But then they see me calling her out on her bullshit and like articulating what they want to do. And like they all have been reaching out to me like, dude, you are the man. You're the man. You know what they're calling me? They're calling me Suit Bro. That's
Suit Bro.
MLD
It's not
Suit Bro.
a bad nickname. I like it. I think it works for you, honestly. It is your brand. You do show up in the suit. It fits.
Exactly. The thing is, I just told myself, like, God knows what's going to happen with the internet and these tours. So I said, if I'm going to go viral, I'm going to be wearing a custom Italian suit.
There you go. Yeah, I've been thinking about going there. They invited me. They were very nice. And I'm considering it. Can you imagine me going on that show, though? I mean, that would be the most. Oh, my God. If I get the right panel, it could be insane.
If you need a tag team partner, call me. I'm right there. I'll fly to California. I'll meet you. Listen, me and you versus.
Can you imagine me and you versus Bangs, Hensley, and the crew? Oh man, Deli, you better clip that for me. Is all I'm going to say. Oh man. Okay, I want to check the chat. And let's see what we have here. We have Rob Boudreau says the voice makes her a -2. Oh, that Bangs voice is something. The voice is something. I said that when we first ran. I said that. Benjamin Cock, $5. I have 2 scales. She's a 7, but 3 personality. Too many rigid opinions. Okay. And Neil Ray gave $50. Thank you both for teaching great lessons. MLD, thank you for being a great figurehead for a man. You're a great person and teacher. I appreciate all the game you have taught, and Jedediah, stay blessed. Much love to both of you. Thank you all. I have one more thing I want to do with you today before we close out. This is not related to the pod. You're not related to the whatever podcast. Deli, can you pull up number 13? Yep. Okay, it's the last thing. This is a picture. I don't know if you know Leah Halpern, but Leah has been on this show, and she's fun. She's a lot of fun. She said, I can't see any husbands in this picture, but you see guys now wearing stuff like this. The future is female, all these like girl power type of t-shirts. And I just have to know, do they not have any self-awareness? Like, that is not attractive to me. I don't want to see my man sporting some like pro-feminist t-shirt walking around. So is this just men now? I mean, obviously we have brainwashed men, but do they not know that this is making them less and less and less attractive to women in the process? Has that chip been lost?
Yeah, I don't even think they have a concept of what attraction is, quite frankly. Like, do you see a guy that looks like me on his knees wearing one of those shirts, or
Right.
Jay Waller, or
Right,
Sterling
imagine.
Cooper? You know?
Andrew Tate shows up, and oh, by the way, I don't know if you saw. If you didn't, you should go back and watch it because it's a very similar energy. Andrew Tate had done before he got arrested. He had done a show with Just Pearly over in England, and he's sitting there listening exactly as you were to this women just going at it, and he's just peeling like a clementine the whole time. He's just eating the clementine. Like, is this over yet? What am I doing? How did I get here? Is there an airplane that can land here and somehow get me out? And sometimes watching you on that show, we were laughing hysterically here because of the expression. Sometimes you were just like, whoa. And sometimes you were just like looking around like, is this it's fantastic because it's like 5 hours, right? Or 4 hours.
No, it was like it wasn't, because I'm a professional. Don't get me wrong. I'll handle what I need to handle when it comes to.
But it was funny
getting stuff done. But like when I was there, I was just like, yo, these chicks really are this fucking retarded. Like these chicks are lost. They are so lost. And so, at one point I just started getting sarcastic, and like, and I think they said something along the lines of like, well, men should pay. And I was just like, she was like, why should men pay? Or he was like, why should men pay? I'm like, because it benefits her. That's why. I just started, shortcutting all their answers.
Of course.
Just skip the garbage.
All right, I have 2 more chats and then we're going to close out. Dax Hill, $10. Jed, MLD is right. It's terrible out here. They are completely broken. They need flaws to date, be with you. They are not dating in hookup culture. Women are participating in unhooked culture. Interesting. And Safe Life, I'm not sure. Give $5. Would you say Sharp from No Jumper is red pill? I have no idea. Do you have an answer to that, MLD?
The only Sharp I know is Donkey Sharp.
Yeah.
He's red pill.
I don't know who that is, actually, so we can't help you on that one.
Should be a couple more if you scroll down.
Oh, you're going to make me refresh this page, Deli, because he makes me, Deli's trying to make me do tech stuff that I don't know how to do. Okay, Marvin Martin, $5. Huxley meets Orwell. Promiscuity meets doublethink. Absolutely. Lou Castley, $10. Yes, make the Whatever Podcast double team happen. I think we would break the internet on that one.
You don't flirt with me and get my hopes up though. You got to do it. I would go. We would go.
We would break the internet. We would actually, but he would have to. It would have to be a good panel that we were facing, because that second night that you had that panel, they were very like. Meh, meh. I know there was the little elf in the corner that was dressed provocatively that probably made you want to be there, but for the audience, it was like, I don't like ditzy doesn't help me. I need like.
They asked me to they're like, can you tone it down? Because like the first show was a little too much, and then they saw me go super viral. Like, come back. Like that was great.
Well, listen, they know what they're getting if I show up. So it is what it is. Chief Keef gave $2. Bangs and Kiko. The worst of y'all would be insane. Who's Kiko? Do you know who that is?
Kiko's the name of the sex doll at the table.
Kiko! Oh, that's fantastic. With the blue hair. I love that. And when they do the shorts
Kiko.
and they go to Kiko, fantastic. Yeah, maybe they could bring, I don't think Bangs is going to be coming back to the Whatever Podcast to face off with me and MLD, but maybe. You never know. MLD, I want to thank you. The audience loves you. I think you have an awesome personality. I loved seeing it get feisty. Whenever you're back in Florida, please let me know. And if Whatever Podcasts, you folks are listening, you want to have us on together to break the internet, let us know. We'll make it happen. Hit that subscribe button, hit that like button. MLD, we'll see you soon. And audience, I will be back here. Oh, I got a story to share with you. You're going to be like, Jed, how are you sitting there for a full hour when I tell you what has gone down? You just wait and see. I will probably see you Friday, but in case I don't, just know stuff is brewing. All right. I'll see you soon. Bye.